Hello everybody and welcome back to Ant Holleufer. Today we are once again taking a look at our Camponotus Vegas colony, which in last episode we just kind of left it off in the middle of a moving day, and today we are then gonna continue their move. Now, I started the day off by giving the ants some honey, but the ants didn't seem very interested in it. This ant had just been over with the honey and then she decided she didn't want any. So I decided, then I'm gonna try to give a mealworm. Normally when I give mealworms, I just give it into the outworld and don't record it or anything, and then I take it out the next day. But today I decided, I'm gonna try to record it since there's a worker out. I would like to record her reaction and how she reacts to these mealworms. So she stood on this test tube here for around a minute or 2 minutes before she finally decided, this thing might not be dangerous. Just kind of stared at it for a very long time. But then it happened. She finally decided to go down the test tube. And I thought now we're gonna get one of these cool clips where they attack. But instead we got this little smelling clip where she kind of smells it with her antennae. And then just starts biting it. So I was pretty sad that there wasn't anything big happening here, but I guess they're already now used to getting a pre-killed food and don't have to fight for it. So I mean, I guess it's a good thing. But here you can see a little 2-minute time lapse of how she just bites in the head and eats of it. But it wasn't long before she decided, I'm actually not that hungry. So she walked to the back of it and realized, oh, there was a hole here, and she could just eat it from there, and then decided to go home again. And I can also see in the way she moves home that either they are tired of mealworms or they're just not hungry enough. Again, this is a very small colony, so they don't need that much protein. But she got home, and the security guard, as always, is standing guarding and checking that it's a colony member coming home. It's very fun to see because there's always an ant standing at the nest entrance being a little security guard, and I find that pretty funny. I mean, I don't see that in any of the other species I have currently. But then she just proceeds to walk home and give the meal to the rest of the colony. But if we take a closer look inside the nest, they are still in their usual danger zone area, with all the ants being ready to do something, but there's not really happening anything. And that's, to me, is just a kind of sign that they want to move over to a more safe location. They are always standing guard both inside the nest and outside the nest. But here you can see the eggs that I talked about last video, and I think there's around maybe 15 eggs. I'm very impressed by how many eggs there is, and I really hope that this moving with the ants don't disturb these eggs. A queen in her founding stage can often eat her eggs if she gets stressed. So I don't know if she can still do that, or the worker can do that, or maybe they can just squish the eggs if they get too stressed. So at the moment I'm actually the most scared of the eggs of this entire moving. And here you can see a bit closer look of how many eggs there are stacked together. As I said before, I think there's around 15 eggs, but maybe more. And I also got a little glimpse of the Trophallaxis, where the queen is getting some food from another worker. And I just love how big it is with these Camponotus ants. They are so amazing to see, both with macro lens and without macro lens. And to any ant keeper out there, they are a long, slow-growing colony, but it's very fun to see how much you can see. So I decided they didn't move with their lamp on top of them, giving them some heat. So I decided, I'm gonna try to put the heating mat under the nest to try to push them that way, because the Mesobarbarus colony actually moved towards the heat instead of running from it. But the next day, all the ants and the queen with her had all moved out of the test tube and moved into the tubing. So this gave me the opportunity to remove the old test tube with some yellow water, but I was then very scared to see what would happen. So I took my nerve off, and I decided, I'm gonna check on the ants, even though now they have nowhere to hide. And to my surprise, I couldn't see the queen. And I was actually so surprised that I had to do some very bad recording to see if she was there. But she was gone. So I thought, yes, she had finally moved into the nest and down in the dig fix. And you can also see some parts of the broken test tubes. But then I realized something that wasn't that good. Normally the ants start moving their eggs first and then last the queen, but within the tubing I then saw all the eggs were still here. So then I start to wonder, okay, if the eggs are here, then the queen probably haven't moved. So I started to check out the whole outworld to see if she maybe had walked out that way, but I just couldn't find her. But when all hopes was ready to give up, I saw her tail, or I don't know, her bottom stuff sticking up here, and she was sticking the nest, it looked like. And then I suddenly saw this worker just start biting her very aggressively, and I completely panicked because I thought, oh no, what if they are gonna kill the queen or do something? So I just quickly shut off the light, put back some tinfoil, and just gave them some time to relax. A bit later, while I was sitting here editing this video, I then saw that it seemed like the whole colony had moved out into the tubing here, and that once again made me very sad because my hopes of them moving into this nest grew smaller for every time I saw them out here. So there was nothing to do really but just wait it out. So around a week later I decided I would give the ants a bit of gravel in their outworld to see if that would help make them a bit more comfortable. And this is one of the workers' first reaction to the gravel. As you can see, she is very excited about it. She moves around in a happy fashion, and not long after she was in full build mode and taking a lot of sand inside to the tubing. But sadly that's not so good because I kind of hoped they would have moved into the dig fix by now. But instead, as I showed you a picture of before, they have moved into their tube, and that now looks like this. So the queen is now comfortably sitting inside the tube, and comfortably is not the correct word to use because every time I move around in my room they get really scared. And I have thought of put some tinfoil around the tubing, but I don't want to make them too comfortable since I'm still trying to make them move out of the tubing into the dig fix nest. A few hours ago I also decided to put a test tube inside the outworld again, so if they really feel like they have to move into the test tube, they can. This is also blooded, so there's a light inside the tube, but if they really want to do it, they have the chance. There's still often a worker working on the dig fix, but not fast enough to make them move, I guess. So it's a bit a sad update video here because there isn't really any positive things to update on, but that's just how it is sometimes in the ant keeping world. So yeah, that's been it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video.